Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well with a quick update for you on the financial market. Some very interesting things happening right now on this important chart, the stock market, and also what's happening, the news story with President Trump, President Zelensky of Ukraine, and everything else. So we'll talk about this in a few moments, guys. Let me also just mention a few things here. You may recall, I think it was last week I put a video out. In that video, I said something quite important. I said, look, this is the Russell 2000, which is a key market leading indicator. These are small cap stocks. I said the Russell is coming up to a very important resistance. That was the level I showed you. And I said, look, we're forming a bearish shooting star candle at resistance. And you may remember I said I was itching.
The itch eraser.
I was itching to short the stock market once we get a reversal signal. And guess what? We were rewarded a few days later with a reversal signal on this negative bar here, which of course later, a few days later, dropped massively. Boom. It dropped down to some key levels, the 50 moving average there. Now we'll come back to this chart in a few moments, but let me just explain to you what could be happening here and what this potentially means. Now there are some speculation that perhaps what drove the market down, as we saw here, was the recent news story, as you probably heard, that they've launched an official impeachment inquiry into President Trump. I'm sure you've heard the news already that essentially they've started impeachment proceedings or an inquiry for an impeachment on President Trump. By the way, guys, before I continue, let me just first of all mention this important point. As you probably know by now, I am not political, I am non-political, and I do not have any political bias whatsoever. I do not support any political party, president, prime minister, whatever. I am independent, and really I think that's important for me to be impartial and non-biased when it comes to my analysis. In any case, guys, I'm sure you've heard the news story by now. Let me just do a quick recap for you in case you're not familiar with the current news events. What's happening is there is apparently a telephone call. So there's apparently a telephone call between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine. Apparently what happened in this telephone call is important. So let me just explain this point here. You see, guys, about 300 years ago, or 243 years ago, the founding fathers of America did something very important when they wrote the US Constitution. They made it clear that a president must not abuse his power. So in other words, they made a law in the Constitution that a sitting president could not abuse his power, and in other words, to try to influence the election, and a sitting president cannot use his power to find dirt on his political opponents. All right, guys? So that's important to understand. The accusation is being made that President Trump may, and again, it's a may, we don't know this for sure yet. The accusation is being made that perhaps President Trump maybe was trying to dig up dirt on his political opponent, Joe Biden, or Joe Biden's son. And if you want to go ahead and read the transcript for yourself, this is a transcript of the telephone conversation between President Trump and President Zelensky of Ukraine. I've actually read this about 2 or 3 times now, but you can go ahead and read it for yourself. Quite an interesting transcript at times. It's unclassified, as you can see here, but here's the important bits of the conversation. Let me see if I can find it for you. I think it's on page 3. Yeah, let's go to page 3. So the bit that actually gets very interesting is on page 3 of this unclassified transcript. The president, in other words, President Trump, says this: "I would like you to do us a favor, though, because our country is being through a lot," and so on and so on. You can go ahead and read the rest. And then it says, "It's very important that you do it, if it's possible." And then essentially what the favor is, we get to it in a few paragraphs in page 4. So there it is, page 4. And he says, so President Trump here says, "There's a lot of talk about Biden's son." Now, Biden, as I'm sure you know, Joe Biden, the candidate who's running for president, as you know. So here where he's mentioning Joe Biden's son. And again, there's a whole paragraph about it. So the accusation is being made. And again, guys, this is an accusation, has not been proven yet, that perhaps President Trump is asking President Zelensky to essentially find some dirt on Joe Biden. Now, again, look, I'm not saying that's been proven yet. We have yet to see. And again, guys, as you know, I'm going to keep an open mind about this. And by the way, guys, after I read this transcript, I asked some friends of mine in America who are supporters of President Trump and asked them what they think about it. And they told me that they think it's nothing. Now, maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong, I don't know. But let me say this. Fox News, as you know, Fox News usually supports President Trump. They're usually on the side of President Trump. And they said something interesting recently. For example, Judge Napolitano on Fox News said this, and listen to what Fox and Friends says as well recently.
It is a crime for the president to solicit aid for his campaign from a foreign government.
So that would be that to which the president has admitted is in and of itself a crime.
Yes.
Because if the president said, you know, I'll give you the money, but you got to investigate Joe Biden, that is really off the rails wrong.
So guys, as you heard there on Fox News, some of the guys there, some of the legal experts and some of the people who usually support President Trump say that this could be pretty big. So again, it's probably who you ask, right? Some people will say it's nothing. Some people will say, oh, it's something. Anyway, look, again, as I said before, guys, I'm not going to get into the politics of it. I'm not political. I don't really care about that sort of stuff. But again, it's having an impact. This is having an impact on the markets, a lot of uncertainty. Uncertainty usually has a negative impact on the stock markets. By the way, guys, before I continue, I know I'm going to get some comments, some interesting comments from people on this video. So let me just make this very clear. If you see any comments from people who have a different opinion than you do or a different political opinion, please be gentle with them. Please be nice with them. So if you see any comments from people who maybe support President Trump or maybe don't support him, or if they have an opinion you don't agree with, please be nice and please be gentle. You do not have my permission to be nasty and rude to them. All right, guys? So please be nice. Please be kind. Again, I don't want to get religious on anybody here, but as Jesus says in Matthew, love your neighbor and love your enemies. Jesus says, if your enemy is hungry, give them food to eat. And if your enemy is thirsty, give them water to drink. And I think that's important, guys. Look, if there's somebody out there you don't agree with, I don't think we should attack those people. All right, guys? So it's wrong, in my opinion, to attack someone who has a different opinion than you do. Instead, give them food to eat. What does that mean? It means give them brain food. So educate them in a nice way. All right, guys? So just give them information in a nice and polite way. As Jesus would say, love your neighbor, love your enemy. Okay, guys, let's continue with the stock market. So look, it's possible the whole impeachment talk may have an impact. Bottom line is this, though. The uncertainties about the impeachment stuff and everything that's going on could have a negative impact. And I think, look, I said this before in my previous video, September and October are usually very negative periods, volatile periods for the markets. And I still think we could see a lot of volatility in the next few weeks as we go into October. Here's what I'm watching on the Russell. Again, this is a key level. Look at this. The stock market, the Russell came down to the 15 moving average, the 15 to 100 daily moving averages, and they bounced off. That means this level is going to be important now for the Russell and perhaps the stock market. As long as, look, we bounced off here. As long as this level can be protected, as long as buyers can hold on to this level, it's possible bulls may have a chance to seize control. But if the stock market, if the Russell were to fall below that level, below that support, which is about 1530, if we see the Russell break that support level and drop below that level that we're seeing right there, a drop below that level could potentially signal and perhaps a major sell-off in the market. All right, guys? So that's a level for the stock market right now to protect, that low that we just made.